My favorite experience at Duquesne, and maybe even like in my life, has been studying abroad last spring semester over a program they called Spring Breakaway. And we went to Duquesne in Brittany, France, and we practiced theater, and it was just incredible because my two passions are theater and international relations.
I went over to the Duquesne campus in Rome with the education school, and I took all of my education classes there. And I came back here to Pittsburgh, and here the Liberal Arts College offers the Intercultural Studies Certificate. Intercultural Studies is about trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So we're always trying to talk about, how does the person in Saudi Arabia feel about this one, about how close you can get to somebody, or how does that person feel if they're in Japan? It's always so interesting to try to figure out what somebody else is thinking, and that's really what we tried to discover.
One of the requirements for the Intercultural Studies Certificate is that you travel abroad. And you travel abroad, you take your coursework over there. For me, it worked out really well. I went to Spain. I took lots of literature classes, and it fulfilled a lot of my requirements for my major. In addition to just a wonderful life experience, I really loved it.
So we get to have a seminar class where it's only reserved for people that have studied abroad. And we always get to talk about, the experiences that we've had and the struggles that we've had and all the good times that we've had. So it was really a special time for me.
The history program it's great. I love it. It's large, and I don't mean that in numbers-wise. It's not large numbers-wise, but the professors have a wide range of specializations. So any type of history you're interested in, you can learn about.
I enjoy the program because it's a very rigorous program. You read very difficult text, and you talk about questions that you don't normally talk about every day. International relations is different than just a normal history major because we deal with more political aspects than normal history majors would do. And it's interesting to study conflicts. It's interesting to study how different economies link to one another and how you can take from philosophy the cause and effect relationship of how different foreign entities work with one another, and you can actually understand how the political system works in the world and understand a little bit of why things happen.
The psychology program at Duquesne focuses on the humanistic aspect of psychology rather than the natural science approach. And that makes it unique in that it is more focused on how individuals make meaning of their experiences rather than just trying to predict the ways people act and behave.
What's neat about the political science department here at Duquesne is it's very small. We work very closely with the other majors with like international relations, who you're from. You start to develop a group. You start to figure out who your liberals are and who your conservatives are and where each person lies on that spectrum. And around election time, it gets very heated in some classes, and it's a great feeling just to know you can go into a class and discuss current topics and just excite and ignite the fire that's about to happen in that room.
My major is digital media arts with a concentration in multimedia development. I've always had a passion for drawing and being creative, and it gives me an opportunity to work with different software like After Effects and take drawings I make and animate them, and I can turn them into like a commercial for a company or maybe the intro for their website, and it really makes me more well-rounded. So when I got there and looking for a job, I can almost apply to anything.
Well, my minor is in women's and gender studies, and it's been a really interesting way to approach the text that I'm working with in my English major, because we're looking at text from the perspective of feminist theory and gender theory and talking about other social issues that have to do with gender. And also, women's and gender studies as a department is interdisciplinary, so you also have the opportunity to work with the concerns in women's and gender studies through a sociological perspective, from a psychological perspective, and from a theater arts approach. So it's very interesting. It is involved with a lot of other disciplines.
The journalism program here has allowed me to think about things differently, how to ask questions to people when I'm giving interviews, or how to actually write or deliver a message or maybe a piece of information to the world. The program, not only for my love for it, but the way that the teachers allow the student to excel and they give the information is what is a determining factor in whether or not you'll learn the information correctly or not. And I think that the faculty under the journalism major does an excellent job in teaching information.
Within theology, I tend to enjoy, first and foremost, it's studying people through their religion. Similar to sociology or philosophy, you can learn a lot about people that way. For me, religion is one of the oldest things that, along with the human race. Since the beginning of time, people looked at the stars and tried to answer questions by it, and you can learn a lot about people by their religion.
I chose Latin with the education. It's totally together, because I think Latin is so useful when it comes to students in general, because they can go in so many different directions with it. They can go to law, to medicine, to anything else, like English, literature, anything. It's just a really versatile skill to have.
Well, Kelly and I study together all the time for our comm classes, and one in particular was last semester. We had history of communication together, and it's a really interesting class, but it's also a lot of work, and you need to put a lot of time into it. So we had weekly journals where we had to read different articles and things by Plato or Cicero or different things like that and write journal responses to them. So Kelly and I found ourselves studying and writing these journals together and writing our papers for the class together pretty much every night, and we would end up staying up until, who knows, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30,
Not all the
sometimes later.
time.
Not always, but a lot of times. And we would always start working on them, and then we get sidetracked. There have been nights where we've gone through maybe 4 or 5 bowls of popcorn together, ordered pizza, while discussing our love of Plato. And it's been really fun because having a friend who's really one of my best friends at school in the same major as me, I can have the same classes as she does, and we live in the same building, so being able to have the opportunity to have 3:30 in the morning study sessions with popcorn and Play-Doh have definitely been one of the most fun and sometimes stressful times, but I think those are some of the best memories that I'll take from my college experience.